What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with my Illinois Fighting Illini football preview for 2016. So talking about a team last year that went 5-7 overall, 2-6 in conference, good for tied for 5th in the Big Ten West. So start with the first of my three key players, and I'm going to start with the quarterback, former Oklahoma State transfer Wes Lunt. Very talented quarterback, is actually a very efficient quarterback at that too, doesn't turn the ball over too much. But he's going to have to be big for his senior year. This is a team that lost their primary wide receiver in Mike Dudek, I believe, to an ACL tear. Let me see if I can get that right. Looks like the same, yeah. And that's going to hurt. They do have two other receivers that I could see coming up big this year in Malik Turner and Desmond Kane. They got another one in Justin Hardy returning for his redshirt senior year. So move on to my second key player, and I got the running back Keyshawn Vaughn. Talking about a guy that rushed for almost 750 yards last year, one of the better weapons they got on offense. He's going to be relied upon heavily. Again, I'll get into this point a little bit more later, but this is an offense that needs to just have more consistency in 2016. That starts with having a balanced offensive attack. Like I said, Vaughn, a guy who had around 750, I believe 743 to be exact last year. Let's see if I can find that. 723. And also carried them to a win against Purdue last year with 180 yards. But again, it's going to have to be a little bit more consistent. I don't know if he'll be able to be a 1,000-yard rusher this year, but that would go a long way toward Illinois maybe making a bowl game this year. So my third key player is Dwayne Swoot. Maybe the best player along this defense for Illinois. Him and Taylor Barton. Taylor Barton, starting strong safety, definitely the two most important players to this defense. Now, in my mind, they do have a good three-level set of leadership on this defense. Like I said, Barton, a senior at safety, should be able to lead the secondary. Secondary that is coming back very experienced. Got Darius Mosley and Caleb Day, both seniors, starting at the corner spots. And then Jalen Dunlap, a redshirt junior, coming back at the free safety spot. Hardy Nickerson at middle linebacker, probably the best linebacker they got. And then, like I said, Swoot along the defensive line. And also, opposite him, Carroll Phillips, another fifth-year senior. They got all seniors along the defensive line. So a very experienced defense this year should go a long way to Illinois maybe being a little bit better than they were in 2015. So move on to the first of my two X factors, and I'm going to start with Lovie Smith. This was one of my favorite hires of the offseason. I think it's a good fit. It just feels right. I don't know if it's going to have a huge effect on their win-loss record in the first year, but long-term, I think it's a great hire. The thing that sounds good about Lovie Smith to me is he always, especially with the Chicago Bears, he always seemed to find a way to maximize his quarterback's value. Rex Grossman was a good example of that. He always has tough defenses too, which I think will help Illinois. It'll go a long way toward helping them be competitive in the Big Ten again. So my second X factor is consistent offense. I mentioned that earlier. If you go back through their games last year, it's just the point totals they were not any sort of consistent. Put up 52 against Kent State in the first game, 44 in Western Illinois. The second game, I get that's a non-Power 5 team and then an FCS team. But then they get just absolutely ran by North Carolina, 48-14. Nebraska, they did beat Nebraska last year, but 14-13, a very slim loss, or a very slim win. Iowa only managed to put up 20 points. Wisconsin, 13, got shut out by Penn State. They did have a big offensive explosion against Purdue, 48 points, only 3 against Ohio State, 23 against Minnesota, and 14 against Northwestern. Again, if they can get the point totals up this year, I mean, I understand that's just the point of being a better offense, but again, it'll go a long way toward Illinois having a more successful season. So start with my trap game, and I got them facing Western Michigan this year. Western Michigan might actually be the favorite coming into that game, but I'm just going to say since it's a Power 5 team against a non-Power 5 team, that it's going to be their trap game. Western Michigan brings back one of the best receivers in the country in Corey Davis that Illinois is going to have to be able to watch out for. It comes right after a very tough game against North Carolina at home. So again, it's not an easy two stretch of games for them. So my biggest game for Illinois is the rivalry game at the end of the season against Northwestern. Northwestern promises to be at least a decent team again this year. It comes again at a rough stretch of games. They got a 4-game stretch against Michigan State, Wisconsin, Iowa, and then Northwestern to finish off the season. That's going to be extremely tough. If they can manage to at least pull off one upset any of those, it'll give them a lot of momentum heading into 2017, and I think could be an underrated win that could help build the program long term. So get into my record prediction for Illinois, and I think they're going to go 3-9. I've sounded really optimistic about Illinois. At least I am optimistic about Illinois, so I hope I sounded optimistic about them in this video. Now, here's the thing with Illinois. It's a tougher schedule, and I think the entire point of the season is to build forward. So that pretty much does it for my Illinois preview for 2016. I'll be coming back later today with my Rutgers preview, but that's pretty much it. See ya.